Hello and welcome to Amid the Chaos. Are you tired of spending a fortune on plastic trees that all look exactly the same? Well, every wargamer knows the feeling. You've spent months painting your army to perfection, only to plop them into a forest of identical, plasticky, toy-like trees. The trees are expensive, they're brittle, and let's be honest, they don't look as real as they might do. I'm going to show you how this, a cheap, simple ball of wool, is the secret to creating a massive and surprisingly durable forest that will completely transform your wargaming table. And the best part? You can do it too for a tiny fraction of the cost of retail scenery. So why wool? Well, the biggest problem with most hobby trees is that they're very rigid and uniform. Nature isn't like that. A real forest is chaotic, beautiful mix of shapes, sizes, densities and colours. Plastic and resin trees really struggle to capture that vibe. They create these repetitive patterns on the tabletop that your brain immediately calls out as fake. My philosophy for terrain is simple. It needs to be cheap, it has to look good, and it absolutely must be practical for gameplay. That's where wool comes in. Not steel wool, but soft acrylic yarn. The stuff you can get at any craft store. It's an incredible material because it's easy to use, easy to shape, and it takes paint and flock in a way that you can create amazing, natural looking textures with. We're going to use this wool to build dense canopies that look good on the tabletop. These trees will properly block line of sight, give units cover, and turn your flat gaming mat into a tactical, three-dimensional battlefield. Most importantly, they won't look like every other forest on every other table. So let's talk supplies. You'll be happy to know this project is built from cheap and easy to find stuff. So first up for your bases, you'll want some of these zinc-plated fender washers, or even just some really thick, heavy cardboard will do the trick. I use these 1.5 inch washers. They have a 1/2 inch hole in the middle, and you can get those on Amazon. You'll also need some of these smaller washers to hold the tree trunks in place. And the reason I do that is you can get these washers where the nail for the tree trunk will go in, but then it doesn't fit flat to the surface. So what I do is I put a smaller washer over the top of the nail and then glue that in place there so that everything just fits flat. You also need some roofing nails for the trunks. I use these 1 3/4 inch. You're also going to need a can of brown spray paint. I use this Rust-Oleum camouflage. They have a really nice range of camouflage colors, and if you're painting nature, then go with what somebody's already done, because they also have different green shades and tans in that range, but for today we'll be using the camouflage brown. Next you'll need some PVA glue. I use the Aleene's original tacky stuff and some just cheap brown paint. Earth brown, this is Crafters. And then you're going to need some flock for the bases, for the trees. And I use this Woodland Scenics blended turf. It's a nice green, but it's got some flecks of tan and browns in there as well. And then next, the star of the show, the wool. I'm using this cheap acrylic yarn. I like the balls of yarn that are multicolored. You can get them in various shades. Just pick one that you like. They don't have to be the exact color that you're going to be finished object, because you can use the spray cans to paint them up later. Finally, from all the tools that you'll need is a nice pair of scissors. And then finally what you'll need is a pom-pom maker. You can get these, they come in sets of 4 different sizes. Again, I'll put a link below. but I'm going to use this 2.5 inch one. All right, so let's start making some forests. For the trunks and bases of our trees, you're going to need your washers and some of the PVA glue. We're just going to run a bead of PVA glue around the underside of the nail there, and drop our washer on it. Thin layer of glue just around the edge of that washer. And that's your trunk. I have painted up my tree trunks and bases. It was too cold last night to use a spray can, so I just used some of the brown Crafters acrylic paint that I have that was going to do the bases. So that's fine. So the next thing we're going to do is add some flock to this. If you are not aware of these things, these are push-pop sensory discs. They're meant to keep you busy, I guess. They're for fidgeting about with. But they actually make excellent acrylic paint holders. Because as you can see in this one, I've had some brown in there. When it's all dried, all you do is push it up, throw it away, and just clean off. So anyway, I use these pretty much all the time when I'm painting. Anyway, so we're going to apply the flock to the bottom discs of our tree trunks here. You can do this one of two ways. You can use the PVA white glue and just slather that on and then apply your flock to that. But my preferred method is to go back to the acrylic paint and just paint the bases on and dip it in the flock. So I have some paint in my fidget tray, and I'm going to bring in some of the flock that I'll be using, and then it's just a matter of painting on where you want the flock, and the paint will be sticky enough for the flock to adhere. So I'll continue with those. Now, you can add small rocks and little bushes and pieces of flock to the bases to make them more aesthetically pleasing if you want to. So while those are drying, we're going to build the tree foliage. For this, we're going to use a pom-pom maker, like I said. This is a smaller one. I'm going to use this for making trees for my 15mm terrain. And the way you use these is you get your yarn, find the end of that, and then you take your yarn, and we're using these two tabs here. You pull those open, and then holding the yarn, the first bit's a bit tricky, so holding the yarn like so, you then wrap the yarn around the pom-pom maker. And then when you come back, you can trap the initial end in there. And then when you've got enough, I like to leave this so it's almost flat across the top there. Holding onto this piece of wool, you close the pom-pom maker and open up the other half. And you take that wall there and continue wrapping. And then when you're happy that you've got enough there, you close this half as well. And then holding that firmly, you're going to want to cut a piece of yarn, I don't know, about 12-14 inches. Keep that to one side. We're going to cut this off as well. Move our yarn out of the way. And then holding this so that it doesn't spring open, we're going to use our yarn snippers and snip our way. You'll see there's a channel in there that you can follow. Just snip the wool, and then making sure it doesn't come out. Like that, and flip it over. Do the same on the other side. So once you've got it, once you have it cut all the way around, this is where we're going to take our other piece of yarn and just double it over like that. The idea is to get it around the center and just feed it through the loop on that side and securely pull that. You want to get this as tight as you can just to stop it all from fraying, and then take the ends and wrap those a couple of times. And then tie it off. Again, you want this to be fairly tight. Like so. And then we're going to open up the pom-pom maker. So we're going to take one of these from each side. And then these two halves should just pull apart and reveal your pom-pom. Just cut through any last strands. Obviously you're going to have bits sticking out, so just trim those to where you like. And fluff it up. And that's your foliage. So then the last step, I'm going to go back to our tacky glue and just put a small dab of the glue on the end of the nail. And having done that, I'm going to find an area for this just to poke into, and then just push down a little bit on the and there you have it. A nice little tree. Now optionally, you can grab your can of cheap, extra strong hairspray and give the whole wall canopy a very generous coating. This will stiffen up the fibres, locking them into place. You could also use some watered down PVA in a spray bottle, but hairspray is just faster and works great. Let it dry completely. Another optional step for the canopies is that you can paint them from above using a spray can. Give it a light spray with a mid-tone green or a camouflage brown. Don't coat it completely, you want the variations from the wool showing through. And after all that, here is the final result. An entire forest ready for the tabletop. These pieces have texture, depth, and an organic quality you just can't get from off-the-shelf plastic trees. Because they're single bases, you can bunch them together to create a large, dense wood that becomes a major line of sight blocker. Or you can spread them out to create sparse woods for light cover. They can be clumped together in endless combinations, so no two setups will ever have to be the same. When you place a miniature next to them, the scale just feels right. A 15mm soldier can actually hide behind the trunks. The canopy is dense enough to conceal a whole squad. This isn't just scenery anymore, it's a core part of the game. It creates tactical decisions, choke points, flanking routes and ambush opportunities. It makes the game more immersive. So there you have it, a beautiful functional wargaming forest built for pennies. We took a simple household material and turned it into high quality, high impact terrain. The big takeaway here is that you do not need a huge budget to have an incredible wargaming table. All it takes is a little creativity and a willingness to get your hands dirty with some unconventional materials. If this video has inspired you to get crafting, consider subscribing to the channel for more budget build guides and tutorials. Your support helps me keep making content just like this. There are links below to some of the materials I've used today. So thank you for watching. Now go build something awesome. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you found it informative. Please don't forget to hit like, leave a comment and subscribe for more videos about the Amid the Chaos rule set. So we'll see you in the next one, and in the meantime, take care.